Oh, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first session of GISRUK, as it were, so the Early Careers Researchers Workshop. As I'm sure you've seen, we've got various bits and pieces throughout the day today covering different topics. This morning, first of all, we're doing a kind of introductory session, so we'll say a little bit about what we're doing, what the conference is, and we've got Johnny Huck, who's the steering committee GISRUK chair, to say a few words, and I might get Scott to say something as well, just to say hello as conference chair. And this is a chance to kind of give you an introduction to the conference, give you a little bit about what we're doing today, and to get a chance to know each other as well. So GISRUK is the largest academic conference in GIS in the UK. Cover a huge number of fields, anything kind of related to GIS really. And, you know, depending on who you ask, I often say when I'm doing my training courses, you can use GIS for more or less any subject. So it's relevant across the board, I would say. We very much want to focus on early career researchers. So that's why we run these sessions for ECRs. For a lot of you, this might be the first academic conference that you've been to. And that's fine. That's great. It's great you're here. And we want to make sure this is a friendly conference, something that you can benefit from, something that you can get useful links from, useful information, get some useful feedback on your presentation, do a bit of networking as well, get to know people, and so on. So if there's anything that we can do to help with this, do let us know. You know, we've got lots of options for chatting in this session, but if there's something specific you think we could do that we haven't done, do let us know. So chuck it in the chat. So today I'm going to say a little bit about networking and why it's important. And we'll also do a little bit what I've termed here social speed dating. So this is a little bit like the kind of classic speed dating where you get to meet someone for 5 minutes, but talking about your research and what you do. So I'll say a little bit more about that in due course, but it's a kind of informal way of getting to know everybody. So I'll now introduce Johnny Huck, who's the chair of the GISRUK steering committee. So Johnny, are you happy to take it away?
Yes, thank you very much, Nick. Welcome everybody. So my name's Johnny Huck. I'm a GIS lecturer in Manchester University, and this is my 10th GISRUK, which I'm very excited about. And I'm currently the national chair for GISRUK, so I chair the committee that runs the whole organisation. And you know, one of the things I'll encourage you to do today is try and get involved with GISRUK. It's you know, a great organisation. As Nick said, it's the largest and I think oldest GIS research organisation in the UK. We attract researchers from across the UK and Europe and wider. We often get people from the US, from Asia, from Australia and so on. And it really is a great way to integrate yourself into GIS research as a community. And that's the real benefit. That's the thing I enjoy about it. I moved into academia from a different career. I didn't have any connections or knowledge of anyone, and I came to GISRUK in 2011 and got to meet Nick, Bruce and Scott, who are all in here amongst many other people. And the thing I always was struck by and quite excited by was the way that GISRUK enables you to meet, you know, the very top professors, people at your own level and everyone in between. And that was something that was really quite strange because you don't often get the opportunities to do that in academia. This is our 29th conference. We've been going continuously since 1993, and it's our second online one. And this is actually quite exciting for us because it means that we have huge numbers of people able to come to the conference, far more than we're normally able to get in person. And as Nick said, you know, one of the key drivers for GISRUK is to integrate early career researchers, get people talking to each other across the field, because that's the thing that drives the field of GIS forwards. Gets you know, people to get feedback on their ideas, help create new ideas, you know, across the country and across the world. And that's the really exciting thing for me. And that's what I want to encourage you to do in this session. You know, please do come and talk to me, talk to the rest of the committee, talk to other people. If you see a, you know, really great presentation, talk to the people that delivered it, and you know, learn more about it, get involved. It's, you know, a great opportunity. I want to quickly thank Nick, James, Scott and Bruce for all their work putting this early careers day together. I hope it's going to be really useful. It certainly looks like it's going to be very interesting, and I'll be back this evening to see you in the social activities, which I'm quite looking forward to. But that's all I want to say for now. So thank you very much to everyone, and yeah, have a good day.
Great, thanks very much, Johnny. Scott, are you happy to say a few words?
Yes, yeah. So I'm Scott Orford. I'm the chair of GISRUK 2021. No doubt most of you would have dealt with me sometime in the last few months, because I'm the person who's been organising the conference and emailing people out via EasyChair or via Eventbrite. I've been calling myself the GISRUK 2021 committee, but it's been me. So, as Johnny said, it's the 29th annual conference. The second conference, which is online, last year was online as well, but hopefully that won't detract from it being a really good conference. We have 68 papers across 3 days and 2 sessions, and 3 really good keynote speakers. So hopefully you'll all be joining us over the next few days, and I'm sure that some of you will also be presenting, and some of you joined us a couple of weeks ago for our the how to present session, which was very useful. So I'm going to be talking later on this afternoon about interdisciplinary research, and you'll have an opportunity to talk to me during the day. I don't want to sort of ruin my introduction for tomorrow, so so come along tomorrow morning for the welcome speech, and you'll get a more detailed welcome to the conference. But yes, you're very welcome to stay as well.
Cool. Thank you very much, Scott. Bruce, are you happy to introduce yourself and say a few words?
Yeah, I'll say hello. Hi there, my name's Bruce. I'm based in Edinburgh. I'm a member of the GISRUK steering committee as well. I was a former chair, so I've been involved with GISRUK for many years. In fact, I think I've been to just about all of the conferences, which is a little bit frightening. But I'm really pleased to welcome all of you good people to GISRUK. If this is your first GISRUK, particular welcome. If you've been here before, great to see you back. I think my interest and involvement in the early careers session goes way back to when I went to my first academic conference, which was a number of years ago. And there were a lot of the sort of great and the good who kind of knew each other, and they were all very pally. And I just felt really rather isolated because I didn't know anybody, and it was kind of difficult to get to meet people because, yeah, everybody else seemed to know everybody else except me. And I've kind of been determined through my academic career to help the new generation coming into our field, our profession, to get to know each other, and just remembering the situation kind of I was in a number of years ago. So this is really the opportunity. It's your opportunity, it's not our opportunity, so take advantage of it. You chat away, you turn your cameras on so we can see you if your broadband allows you to do that, and you take advantage of the discussion sessions, the social event later on this afternoon. You'll get involved, you'll get out of it what you put into it. And I think it's really, really important. It's Nick and I have run these sessions for a number of years, and we see people coming back to GISRUK year on year who've come to the Early Careers Research Forum, and they know a group of people, and the group of people are often those that they met at the early career sessions. So enjoy it. It'll be a great few days. Thanks to Johnny and Scott and Nick and everybody else. A lot of organisation goes on behind the scenes in terms of making this happen. It should be a great event. The advantage of online is that we can welcome people from all around the world, and we're seeing that even here today. I saw somebody wishing us good afternoon from Indonesia, which was fantastic. So it's a great opportunity to be able to make links, hear about the interesting things that are going on in GI, and thank you.
Great, thanks, Bruce. And James, are you happy to introduce yourself, please?
Thanks, Nick. Hi, everyone. I'm James Howarth. I'm a lecturer from UCL, and I'm also the ECR representative for the research side. So Nick takes care mainly of the kind of career side. I have to say, Nick takes all the credit for organising this session of events today. He's done a great job along with Abigail and lots of other colleagues. So thanks very much for that, Nick. This afternoon, I'll be running the research session along with Peter Mooney and Scott and Abigail. We've got some fun activities for you in there. I think I recognise some names from the presentation session a couple of weeks ago, so it's nice to see you guys coming back. I think I echo what Bruce said about being a kind of younger researcher going to GISRUK. I think my generation really benefited from the ECR events that Nick's been running over the past few years, and before him, GISRUK really has a strong emphasis on those early career activities. Unfortunately, we weren't able to run them last year when we did the first online conference, so it's great to have those sessions back. So thanks again, Nick, for organising.
Great, thanks, James. And listening to all of the introductions, I've realised I've not actually introduced myself. So I'm Nick Bierman. I'm the ECR rep for, I think we called it business in the end, on the National Steering Committee. So, you know, I'm not an academic. I have a PhD, I worked as a postdoc for a while, and now I run my own freelance training consultancy. So I do training sessions on GIS, and I do still have a link with UCL. I work 2 days a week in professional services for CDRC. So, you know, one of the things we'll talk about in the careers session is what we can do after masters or PhDs, whatever stage people are in, and we'll say a little bit more about different options then. So thank you very much for the introductions. I wanted to spend a little bit of time today on kind of networking and, you know, what we might call social networking. You know, we used to have a bit about networking at conferences and social networking as well. They're both very interrelated, even more so now we have an online conference. So whether we call it networking or social networking, I don't think it really matters. So I'll say a little bit about kind of physical networking as much as we can do later. But I just wanted to say a little bit about social networking as well and how we promote what we do. You know, I love this quote where you give up your privacy in exchange for a service you didn't know you wanted. A lot of people can get very cynical about Facebook, particularly, you know, Twitter and all the rest of it. But it is a really, really useful resource as well. So you can make it work for you. There are lots and lots of platforms out there. You know, most of what I'm going to say is kind of platform generic, really. And the importance of networking, I would say, is probably job opportunities. You know, some people say that up to 70% of people ended up in their current job thanks to networking. Some say 80, 85, it doesn't matter. It's a big number. So there's a lot that you can get from it. And, you know, at least 70% of job openings aren't even listed. To find out about them, you need to network. If you're looking for jobs in academia or the public sector, they often have very clear rules. They have to advertise the job. The job has to go on the whatever organisation's careers site and get promoted and all the rest of it. If you're working in the private sector, that's not necessarily the case. You know, the big corporations will have kind of clear career recruitment paths, but for a smaller organisation, you know, if you meet someone at a conference, talk about what you work, it's useful for what they do, they can offer you a job there and then. So there's no kind of formal recruitment process. So to know about those jobs, you need to know the people who are offering them. And at this conference, there are several potential employers, for your future careers. You know, we have a range of universities here, but we also have Ordnance Survey, we have the AGI, we have the RGS, we have EDINA, we have ESRI, and a range of other people as well. So we'll introduce some people from AGI and RGS in the careers session. There's definitely people from OS going to be at the social event later on in the main conference, and possibly even the social event tonight. So do make use of the opportunities to meet these people. You know, there are a huge number of platforms out there for doing social networking. I would you know, which you use is really up to you. I would say it's better to use a few platforms well rather than many platforms poorly. You know, I quite like Twitter. it works very well for me. It kind of works for how I want to work. I can post messages there or pictures or stuff related to what I'm doing. But I've never really touched Instagram, and I don't do much with that. So try experiment and see what works for you. You know, probably the worst thing is to have an out-of-date profile on one of these platforms. So at the minimum, have some current details of your name, a photo, and then a link to your website or profile or whatever it might be, rather than, you know, if you have a link to your PhD page at university that no longer exists, that's just really annoying for someone trying to find out a little bit more about you. You know, LinkedIn is a good one as well. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. I do quite a lot on there. It's much more career focused, business focused, job focused, however you want to put it. But it's well worth using that as well. And finally, you know, not forgetting your university's page. If you're a PhD student, you will most likely be listed on your university's website somewhere, and you might even have an actual profile page. So find out, do you have that, and is it up to date, and can you put a photo on it? And if you can, make sure you do, because when you're presenting your work at the conference, if you're presenting, your name will be there and your university. So make sure that it actually reflects what you do. And there's a kind of whole range of, you could write your own blog or do your own website or that sort of thing. You know, whether you want to or not depends on how much time you have, what your plans are going forward. I find it works really well for me. I often use it as a way of practicing writing. You know, we're always talking about writing in academia. Writing a blog post is quite a different skill set to writing an academic paper, but it's good to practice. Well, I was going to say putting pen to paper, but it's been a little while since I've done that. But, you know, right, finger to keyboard maybe, but to get that practice. So, you know, that's a kind of a few random bits on social media that I thought might be useful. What I want to spend a main chunk of this session doing is thinking about getting to know one another. So networking is this key skill. Not everybody likes it. You know, I'm mildly amused by this photo of Mark Zuckerberg. You know, I don't think he's upset at the prospect of networking, but he's upset at the prospect of Facebook being told that it shouldn't do what it does. But networking isn't everyone's cup of tea. You know, that is true, but it's a really, really useful skill and it's really important. So it's important to practice. The more you do of networking, the better you get by far. So we're going to practice, essentially. We have this thing called the elevator pitch that you may well have come across. And this is essentially how to give a short summary of what you do in a short period of time. You know, the kind of nominal setup is that you meet someone in an elevator going to an office and you have 30 seconds, 40 seconds, a minute, however long it takes to get to their floor to tell them what you do and possibly make links with a future employer. So we're going to have a little bit of practice of this. What we're going to do is we're going to set up breakout rooms within Zoom, and we'll use the kind of random allocation to set that up. And we're going to put you into groups of 4. And what we'd like you to do is to have a go at your elevator pitch. So who you are, what you're doing, what your research is, and kind of why it's important. So those are the kind of 3 key bits. So we're going to do this a few times so everyone gets a chance to do your elevator pitch and then do it again, because often the repetition is really, really useful with this. So what I would like everyone to do is, if possible, if you can all turn your video on, and then I'm going to set up the breakout rooms and we'll run the first session probably for 7 or 8 minutes, just so that we can get an idea of how it works and how it all comes together. So I'll stop it after 7 or 8 minutes, and then I'll re-randomize the groups and put everyone hopefully in a different group so you can have another go and meet some different people. And we'll do that. How many people have we got? We've got 40, so we'd probably do it. 3 or 4 times, something like that, to see how it gets on. The idea is to try and meet as many different people as possible. So I should be able to set up a breakout groups, or maybe not.
Yeah, I think only Scott has the power for that at the moment.
Okay. Are you happy to, well, either set that up or let me set it up, Scott? Cool.
We're not hearing you, Scott. You're muted.
Yeah, I could let you set it up. I'll just but make the host. That might be easy, Nick.
Yeah, that'll sort it.
I'll just give you the power over everything.
With great power comes great responsibility, as they say.
There we are now. You're a host.
Wonderful. Okay, so I will set that up. Before I actually hit the button, is everybody at least vaguely clear on what we're doing? Has anybody got any questions? Okay, so I assume everybody's happy. The 5, I think it would be of us, so myself, Bruce, Johnny, Scott and James will be distributed throughout the room. So we will, do our introductions, but we might wander around and see how the other groups are getting on as well. So we might drop in and out. Great, okay, so good luck and see you in a bit. Great, well, welcome back everyone. I've just closed the breakout rooms, so I think everybody's come back in now. I hope that was a useful exercise. I sat in on a few discussions and everybody seemed to be getting on and doing their elevator pitch, but having a general chat as well. Any kind of thoughts or comments on the elevator pitch as a concept, or what we actually just did then as an exercise? Do you think it worked? Do you think it's a useful thing to be able to do? So by all means, put something in the chat or unmute and feel free to just chip in. Yes, Stefano?
Thanks, Nick. I thought that was very, very helpful. It gave the opportunity to understand where various people are coming from and the connections with your own position in terms of research. In the brief discussions that I had, we plugged into the use of kind of social media, mobile data analytics, the issues of open source and constrained access. And we're also already making connections with emerging research that I'm looking at for retail, high street regeneration, and the use of people's skill sets on data analysis. So extremely helpful.
Excellent. No, that's really great to hear. Thanks for sharing that. Anyone else like to share what they thought, whether it worked, whether it didn't work?
I could say 2 seconds, Nick, if you want, just to fill the silence. I think it works. We did it all very informally, which is, I guess there's an informal elevator pitch and a formal elevator pitch, and it probably is worth thinking just what you would say if you have that opportunity, because often you do have that opportunity in real conferences. Often in the coffee queue, you find yourself behind somebody that you've read their book and you want to speak to them. So it's worth maybe just thinking what you need to squeeze in there, rather than having to do it on the fly as we tended to do it in the sessions we've just had just now. But it was great. I found it really useful. It's really nice to meet all the people that I met in the rooms I was in.
Cool. Great, thanks, Bruce. Did anybody not have enough time? Did I end up cutting anybody off? David?
Yeah, because, sorry, usually I let the other one to speak. When I speak, I take longer my elevation picture, and then gone, it's only stuck. You see my head cutting off. But no, yeah, it always depends at the end, because I've been using Zoom for a while, and then sometimes it's like the time is never the right one. It is too short, it is too long, so we need to cope with that.
Yeah, and I suspect a lot of people have the same. I saw quite a few grins when you were saying that, and that's something that comes with practice. The more you do this, the more you can, read whoever you're talking to. Do you need to make it shorter? Do you need to make it longer? And, are they are they interested in that area, in which case you can go into more detail, or not, in which case you can kind of wrap it up. So it comes with practice. So, you know, I think that's worked really well. It's great to see everyone. I really appreciate everyone taking part in that. So I think that was a really valuable exercise. So thanks, everyone.
Yeah, I think I'll just add, Nick, it is really valuable, and I think it's a difficult one that some people are very happy to do that and happy to chat about themselves. Others, I think, find it a bit more difficult. It was quite interesting that when you announced that we were going to do that, we immediately lost about 12 people from the session. So these were the shy people. But I think it is important to practice, because networking, as Nick said, is really important in terms of you getting on, meeting the connections you want to meet, getting the job you want, getting the next research post, and we do that by introducing ourselves and making sure we're known. So for those that I'm naturally a pretty shy person. I don't like doing it, but with practice it becomes a lot easier. So if you're nervous about doing it, you use an opportunity like GISRUK to kind of practice, and you will get better at it. I used to be frightened to talk to anybody, and now you can't shut me up, can you, Nick? So on that point, I will.
No, that's great. And yeah, as Susie put in the chat, which I didn't spot, as a very early researcher, my focus is still nebulous, so it's a bit nerve-wracking trying to condense your thought cloud into 1 minute. And yeah, no, I completely agree with that. If you're at a very early stage, you've probably only got yourself a vague idea what your PhD is, but going through the process and trying to condense it down is really useful. And for everyone who is nervous but stayed and participated, well done. You know, it's not easy, but it's a great thing to be able to do. And yet Tom says, the nerves make me chat about myself, but as soon as somebody says present your ideas, I instantly have to write things down. Yeah, no, nerves are good. They help me focus. So yeah, you know, it's kind of, you know, I did kind of literally throw you in with this, but in a way that was intentional, because that's often how it happens. And so, you know, I'm sure nobody gave the perfect elevator pitch, but there is no such thing as a perfect elevator pitch. You do the best thing that you do at that point, and then next time it will be better. And even as someone who's presented a few times and done quite a bit of this, each time always improves it. So you always get that improvement after every conversation you have or every presentation you give.
But also don't worry about it. I think we all worry about what others think about us, and we worry that we're not giving the perfect pitch. But actually, you know, at conferences like this, people are just interested in what you're doing, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And if they're not sure what you're doing, they'll ask questions. So yeah, don't worry that you've got to be perfect and present yourself perfectly. Nobody's perfect. So yeah, just say your bit and enter into the conversation. Be relaxed.
Great. So that kind of more or less wraps things up for this session. It's just a chance to say hello. I just wanted to say very briefly about the rest of the program. You know, we've got a few, certainly this morning, we've got some gaps. So do, you know, get away from the computer for a bit. And during the main conference itself, do have some breaks as well. You know, these conferences are very intense. Being on screen, looking and listening to presentations, so do make sure you have breaks as you go through. The next session is on careers at 12 o'clock. So I'm going to be coordinating that, and we're going to hear a little bit about CVs, particularly academic CVs and GIS CVs. And then we're going to have a little bit of a panel session. So we've got 5 people who studied GIS, either masters or PhD in some form, to talk about what they've done. And we've got one lecturer, so from the academic sector, but all of the others are non-academic. So we'll hear a little bit about what they do, how they got where they do, and then we can have a bit of a discussion and Q&A with them. And then we've got a research session at 2:30, so there's a little gap between the sessions. And James Howarth is chairing that. And we're going to hear a little bit about publications, a little bit about research grants, and kind of working in interdisciplinary research there as well. That's scheduled to run till 3:45, but we may end up running till 4 o'clock. because when I was doing the planning, it didn't quite work out. So just to forewarn you, it might run to 4. Then 4 till 5, there's the spatial analytics and data, the interviews run by the QMRG. So this is not formally part of GISRUK as an external event, but it's a really useful thing to go along to. And so the QMRG are a research group from the RGS, and they're doing a interview with Professor Mike Batty to talk about his work, his research, his life. So I think that'll be a really fascinating discussion. And then we've got the quiz and social at 6. So we're going to run that on the WonderMe platform. So this is a more of a kind of networking platform. You have a little bubble and you can move around the room to interact with different groups. So we'll have a bit of an experiment in there. And we've got a few quiz questions just to kind of liven things up a bit. A fun, informal quiz. No prize, but just the prize of getting the right answer. Okay, so yeah, that's it for this morning.